What is Agenda 2030 for people who don't know? Because you brought that up a few times.
Okay. Well, Agenda 2030 is a global governance model that assumes that all problems are global and therefore all solutions need to be global. And that means that there needs to be global governance, a global kind of parent company over planet Earth that controls all the subsidiaries under them. So if you think of a parent company, I once worked for an ad agency. So they had WPP was the parent company, and it owned Ogilvy and McCann and Young and Rubicam and everyone else. It owned all the ad, and we would all compete against each other for business in spending millions and millions of dollars. At the end of the day, the same company owned all of us. So
Right.
it's like, what is going on here? And that's kind of what we're dealing with. Agenda 2030 has 17 sustainable development goals. They are sustainable for their model, for their global governance model. All of them have things like no more poverty, everyone has an ID, there's a world banking system, all of that.
So the opposite of all that's true.
It is all digital.
Right.
And it all includes a digital ID. A lot of people know that Bill Gates and others are behind that. Of course, all of our tech firms, basically in America, have come out of DARPA and the Department of Defense and have contracts to track and trace, surveil us. They did way before the Twitter files were revealed. This comes out of the Patriot Act, like everything else that has destroyed our country in terms of surveillance and being a police state. But on top of that, so Agenda 2030, they put all these things in there, and they're all sustainable goals. But I will tell you the end goal is, and what you need to ask is, well, who's enforcing these? Who enforces Agenda 2030? And then you see that they have a pact. The UN and World Economic Forum are one and the same. It's called the Great Reset to them. It's called Our Common Agenda at the UN. It's called Global Governance. And if you go on any of the websites of the Octopus of Global Control's tentacles, that's every one of them, including all the way up to the Bank of International Settlements, and you put in Agenda 2030, they all have an Agenda 2030, including the Vatican, including NATO, including, because NATO is really the one world military. You know, they want the central bank digital currency, which will be global, not American. It will be run through the IMF. They do not hide this. And what they will require of all of us is to have a digital ID that includes our climate tracking and tracing, includes our vaccine passport, and they did a run through with the vaccine passport. It will include all of our spending. We will have the concept of taxes will be immediate. It will include a social credit score, like in China, being built. It will include also. The other thing that it will include is travel and anything that you're using that takes up energy, kind of they call it, what do they call it? Climate trace. So they have all these things in play, and they've all been pushing through the UN and World Economic Forum, a global digital ID, global wallet, they call it. And that you will not be able to function in their plan on planet Earth unless you have that global wallet, and that's a track and trace surveillance system that's connected to the satellites. And basically, we are China worldwide. And don't forget, Davos just had their event a few weeks ago, and what wasn't reported was that the VIPs there were the Chinese Communist Party, the number 2G, and one of the big topics was that the model that the Chinese Communist Party uses for resources is the best model in the world, and all the people at the Davos crew, Klaus Schwab and everyone, Kerry, Gore, our team there, clapping. When they're saying that the CCP is the best at controlling resources, they mean people.
Right.
Right. That
scary.
That's what it's saying, and that's where it's coming from.
How are they expecting us all to get?
I just really was amazed when, the whole October 7th attack on Israeli civilians really affected me because that was my tweet. That was what.
Right.
And
your tweet is kind of important.
Huh?
Yeah, I realize. I mean, we're really good friends in real life, so I know a lot of what really went down. But I wanted to say something about your tweet because people are really being deceived on a grand scale. My mom's like, "Don't talk about that. They're going to come get you." Well, you know what? If we lose in 2024, all three of us are going to the gulag, so we might as well say whatever we want because that's also built into the Patriot Act.
Yes.
But what I will tell you,
we all have files. We're all in files.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But I'll tell you that. the Muslim Brotherhood is being left out of the conversation, and the Muslim Brotherhood is Qatar.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while they're acting like, oh, we're just going to go through Qatar, they're not going to say we're just going to go through the Muslim Brotherhood. Do you know that when Blinken, when we botched the exit, I think purposefully out of Afghanistan, Anthony Blinken gave all of the power of the our whatever control we had left in Afghanistan to Qatar. Mm-hmm. Now, if they were not saying Qatar and they were saying the Muslim Brotherhood, would people react? Probably. But that is who that is. They are a billionaire group that run Islam, and they are called the Muslim Brotherhood, and they are a big part of the Great Reset agenda. And here's the craziest part. So right now they're all working together. So the Muslim Brotherhood's working with the Davos billionaires, working with the CCP, working with all of this to displace America so that they can have their Great Reset, one world global governance. They're all in on Agenda 2030, first of all. So to think that they're not is naive. But they want to take America out, because then they can control it. It's the American people that are the problem. Actually, 80 million of us that they want to take out.
Yeah.
So and then we have people all over the world. We're watching the uprisings. Those are our people. The people rising up in Europe, all over the world. That's our people. They hate them too. So, but the truth is, if they took out America, let's say, and it's not going to happen. God will not. I 100% think America leaves. I think on the other side of this, we got a real chance. It's a really, really great world. It's just we really have to turn this around. But I have to say, the hell on earth that would be unleashed if America was removed as one of the superpowers.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You think that the Muslim Brotherhood's going to be like, you know what? Fine, Davos billionaires, you guys can run it,
Right.
or fine, CCP, you guys can run it. No. At that point, then they would all fight each other, and then the whole world would blow up anyway. So if people of humanity don't want any of that to happen, they have to now start to stop not talking, stand up, speak up, show up, never let somebody lie to your face about anything that's going on. Don't go along to get along anymore. It's too late. And again, I think it's very empowering if the American people actually understood that we are all being controlled and victimized by the same group of people. And there are no sides. It's an illusion of choice. There is no left and right. Mm-hmm. If people just realize right now the war is for our freedom. Without our freedom, you're not marching on anything, Right. So people really just have to start to realize that. I don't like people that are Trump people or RFK Jr. people fighting each other because they hate us both equally.
Right.
And their own voters don't understand that they're being used, and that's fine. But this is way above our government, and they're very recognizable who they are. And there's so many more of us. But again, I think January 6th made a lot of people stop from standing up, and I hope that reverses in the next few months.
Yeah. No.
It's just terrifying. But in another way, like you said, well, there is on the other side this kind of
awakening,
great hope for it could go right. Things actually could go right.
Yeah. We got to slay the octopus, kill it from the top, it's at the top. It's not at the bottom. No. It's not draining the swamp, because all those swamp creatures are owned by the people at the top, a captured nation. And we're not the only one. Klaus Schwab brags about infiltrating governments all over the world, including ours. And we sit there and wonder. And, we have a lot of things we have to do. What is scary, I don't know if you guys saw that NBC News article where they talk about that they're already, and it's the same people, it's the Crossfire Hurricane Mueller team that are involved here. They in this NBC News article, they're very brazen. You guys remember the Molly Ball article where they bragged about coordinating to steal the election. Well, this is like the follow-up. So just 2 weeks ago, NBC News puts out, the Intel News Agency, I call them, puts out this article, and it says, those taking part in the effort told NBC News they are studying Trump's past actions and 2024 policy positions so that they will be ready if he wins in November. That includes preparing to take legal action and send letters to Trump appointees spelling out consequences they'd face if they undermine constitutional norms. Then it goes on to say, we're already starting to put together a team to think through the most damaging types of things that Trump might do so that we're ready to bring lawsuits if we have to, says Mary McCord, Executive Director of Institution of Constitutional Advocacy and Protection at Georgetown.
Which means the opposite of the Constitution.
So first of all, she was one of the key architects of Crossfire Hurricane and the Mueller report and all of that. So they don't hide it. Weissman goes on TV every night. Weissman and Eisen are putting out op-eds and all the time. Like they're guiding the media to go with the narrative, because every single thing that Trump is going through, they're all going to get reversed on appeal. These are novel. These aren't real legal issues.
Right.
They're not real
and it's just to like get people agitated, like on Twitter when they were going after, when they were doing the Fani Willis is the new George Washington. I mean, they say she is a great American. And I saw this picture. It was a meme, but it was her in profile looking off to the future, looking just like George Washington. And I was like, please screen capture this for 6 months down the road when she's exposed as a fraud in every possible way. They don't care if it's right or wrong. They don't even care if it's a real lawsuit or not. It's that just loosh from getting it in the press.
Exactly.
Well, as long as we're fighting, they can keep doing Agenda 2030 or any of the stuff Mel's talking about or we talk about weekly. If we're at each other's throats, we're not noticing this going on. So it doesn't even matter if Trump goes to jail.
That's the model. That's the model. That's the color revolution.
Yeah,
as long as we're fighting each other, we can't see that we have the same enemy and they're not each other.
Right. But if I have to be nice to Democrats, Mel, I got to be honest with you. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can be nice to liberals and Democrats after everything we've gone through. And this is a former Democrat speaking. I know we have to, and I'm wrestling it with myself, but we do have to.
I have to say that I feel the same. I don't forgive them for what they did to me. I'm not going to be able to forgive them.